Hello everybody, welcome to the Securing Windows series. My name is Joseph Butler. In this video we're going to be going over a STIG item called Domain Join Systems Must Use Windows 11 Enterprise Edition 64-bit version. Okay, a lot of stuff there, but for us to move forward, I wanted to create this video series in order to help organizations, whether you're a corporation, a small business, or even a home user, secure your Windows systems using the already provided security settings that are simple to do. This helps prevent malware attacks, prevent hacking, just a bunch of preventive things that are easy. So let's go with a bit of background. Where did I get this title, Domain Join Systems, blah blah blah? Well, this is part of a DISA STIG. DISA is the Defense Information System Agency, and they produce a STIG. And a STIG is a Security Technical Implementation Guide. So DISA is the cyber arm of the DoD. And what is a STIG? So a STIG is a configuration standard, right? But really what it is it's a setting, right? So if you want to disable passwords, well, you would change in your registry or something from a 0 to a 1 or a 1 to a 0. Okay, so it's enabling and disabling settings. Now, not everything is a setting. There are STIGs that reference activities, and we'll get into those later, but just understand that a STIG is a security technical, right? It's a technical action, whether document or setting, and you implement it, and this is the guide that tells you how to do it. So where do we get STIGs? So the STIGs are over here at the public.cyber.mil/STIGs. I'm not going to go through the details on how to download, just let you know that they exist. That is for a later video that I'm just not prepared to do right now, but look for that in the future. So how did we get to where we're at? So when we pull up and download one of those STIGs for Windows 11, as you can see, they have a Microsoft Windows 11 STIG. Tells you the version, the release, benchmark date. There's a bunch of other information here that's important to different risk management frameworks and vulnerability management. That's beyond the scope of this. Again, that's another future video, hopefully. I'm pretty sure I'll get to it. But as you can see right here, the rule title, and there's a bunch of STIGs. I mean, there's hundreds, there's thousands, thousands upon thousands of STIG settings across multiple platforms. And this we're just doing Windows 11. And the same settings here can apply to Windows 10. The rule title, Domain Join Systems Must Use Windows 11 Enterprise. So it's important when you're looking at STIGs to read everything and understand why you're doing it. And this is a perfect example. This is the first STIG item, the vulnerability ID, that's within this STIG. And this is a perfect example of sort of what I call dependency, right? So if we look at it on its face, Domain Join Systems must use Windows 11 Enterprise Edition 64-bit version. So we're talking about domain join systems and using Windows 11 Enterprise. Okay, then you ask yourself, well, why is this important? Then we have the discussion area, and this right here will trip up a lot of people. It took me, once I started reading it, I was like, oh, now I understand. So features such as Credential Guard, use virtual-based security. Well, I still haven't talked about domain joined or Windows 11, so we've already jumped into Credential Guard, virtual-based security, to protect information that could be used in credential theft attacks if compromised. Okay, that's good to know. There are a number of system requirements that must be met in order for this Credential Guard to be configured and enabled. Virtual-based security and Credential Guard are only available with Windows. So now we understand. So basically what we're saying is you have to purchase or upgrade, if you're a domain join system, the Windows 11 Enterprise version, which of course is cost, right? We all like to pay for things. But the true purpose of this is to set the stage for enabling Credential Guard and virtual-based security. So what it's asking here is the check text, and that is to verify if your domain join systems are using Windows 11. And so For standalone systems, this is not applicable. However, if you want to if you're a home user or a small business and you don't have a domain joined system, there's nothing preventing you from upgrading to Windows 11 Enterprise and getting these features and running them on your system. Hopefully with the intent of you actually using these capabilities. So, but this is designed for the DoD, but it's free and available for everybody to use, right? The settings, the guidance is free for everybody. I don't have Windows 11, of course, but I'm still going to walk through the steps on what this says to prove that you can do it manually. Other aspects of this is they can run these scans through a tool, which again, that's a future video, that will automatically check your entire IP range, your entire network, and provide you with evidence if you are running Windows 11 Enterprise, or like me, I'm running Windows 11 Pro. So let's follow the steps here. I'm going to go in here and go to Settings. Great, so I click Start, I click on Settings. It says select the system, so here's the system on left-hand pane of the window. I'm going to scroll down to the About. It says select System, then About. Going down here to About, and I might just scroll down here. If the edition is not Windows 11 Enterprise, this is a finding. Again, this is for domain joined systems. And what is a finding? Well, when you're doing STIGs, we have to report that information in the DoD world. You would also want to know this information as far as reporting or having a finding. It just means, hey, you're not compliant. You don't have Windows 11, and oh, you're on a domain. Well, that's a problem, and a problem you need to resolve. So I go down here, look at Edition, and that's Windows 11 Pro. So as a home user, it's a standalone system. I'm not connected to a domain. This is not a finding for me. I'm just imagining if I'm a DoD Enterprise, and that's it. So what happens if you're a DoD Enterprise, or if you're a small business and you're doing federal, or I'm sorry, if you're if you're a small business and you're doing DoD contracting, and you happen to have you fall underneath the DFAR and the CMMC cyber maturity model, whatever, and then you have to follow certain NIST controls. So what is NIST? So NIST is the National Institute of Standard Technology, and they produce publications called special publications, and there's a series called 800, and the NIST, so right here's the 853 Rev 4, Security and Privacy Controls for Federal Information Systems. So we looked at this one here, and it says, well, this activity, this content falls underneath CM-6 Bravo. So here's revision 4, right? And there's multiple items here, but we're worried about revision 4 right now. Revision 5 is out. I'm not concerned with that. I'm doing revision 4. So there's also a CCI, and so if you look at the CCI, it has a number, and we'll get into those here in a second. It's not important for this video, but the organization implements the security configuration settings. The organization implements the security configuration settings, okay? And that's CM6 Bravo. If I were to go to this publication and do a search for CM6, I'm going to have to tab a lot because there's lots of CM6 references. Eventually I'm going to get to this section here in the publication. And there's more, I just cut it off to get this section. CM6 falls underneath configuration management, the CM part. And they have CM1, CM2, CM3. Well, CM1 is your policies and procedures, right? So you'd have to have a document that outlines your policy. That's a very extremely high level document. And then you would have your procedures. So CM1 says you have to have a policy and procedures. Great. We're looking for CM6. So assuming you have CM1 and all that jazz, we move on down to CM6, and we look at CM6, which is configuration settings. So we are looking at a configuration setting. We're looking at, do we have Windows 11 Enterprise? Well, we don't. So that's fine. I'm a home user. CM6 Bravo says the organization implements the configuration settings. So here's a little tricky, right? So why is it that This doesn't mention anything about checking for Windows 11 or checking about your operating system. Well, CM6 is a catch-all in the STIG environment, the control environment, for all configuration settings that don't map to a specific control, right? And each control usually and typically has specific content or activities it wants you to perform. In this instance, it's just a bucket of configuration settings. So you could say that, well, you configured you installed Windows 11 Enterprise, so you're actually doing a configuration setting. The thing about this is that that's not what's being asked. What's being asked here for CM6 is that the organization implements the configuration settings. So it can get a little tricky when you're reading these controls. However, there is a reason why this was assigned to CM6, and it comes down to, again, the bucket of nowhere else to put it. It's here. So how does the organization implement the security controls? Well, if I was writing my plan, not my policy, right? Policies are executive level. They should be 2 to 4 pages long, saying you will implement these controls. I mean, and management commitment, roles and responsibilities. Has nothing to do with technical aspects of an organization. That's where your plan and your CM plan, your access control plan, those come into play. In this instance, if I was writing my plan and I had this CCI, says the organization implements security control settings, I would say, okay, how do we implement those, right? So that's where you would write either in your plan or in other documents and say, well, we utilize for our domain joined systems the Windows 11 Enterprise 64-bit version. You could literally write a statement in there, and you've just met the I would say the requirement for that control as to what your plan is to meet the control for this specific STIG. Now, controls aren't dependent upon STIGs, and STIGs aren't dependent upon controls, but they do work together. So in this case, I just wanted to give you an idea of what this is. Now, let's take a look at Credential Guard in general, right? Because I think it's important to understand, they're asking you to upgrade to Windows 11 Enterprise so you can install these things. And there's other STIG items we're going to get to that reference Credential Guard and virtual-based security. But this sets the stage for that, to do that. So if I were to go to Credential Guard, so Microsoft learned, and they got, Credential Guard overview. And it talks about, well, if we're going to implement that, then this is the things you're going to get. It prevents credential theft attacks by protecting password hashes, tickets, and credentials stored by applications as domain credentials. So, this is not easy to do. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not easy to do. Whenever you make a change to your system, you want to research and understand what that change is going to be. Here's the good. The system requirements, of course, are what you're going to have to meet. And as you can see right here, it requires the following feature, right? So then you'd have to go in and read these features. But at this level, when we're looking at the STIG, we're not at that point yet. We're just saying install Windows 11. So this will set the stage for those activities later. I know this wasn't really hands-on, but the future videos, as we come across technical implementations, I will walk you through on my computer how to enable and disable them and what that means, what those features and activity, what the effect is on your computer. So I hope that you found this informative, gave you some insight into STIGs, how the DoD secures their system. I'm rather hopeful that we'll get to how to use these tools to do your scanning, which is going to be fun, and how to actually do the implementation of the controls is really what I'm trying to get at. So this is my first video. I know it's lengthy, but definitely I think this is going to help set the stage for the next video and the next setting that we're going to go through. So thank you, I appreciate it. So the last part here is I just want to tell you about myself, and something just happened. That's okay. So who am I? and you can probably close the video at this point if you like, but I'm Joseph Butler. I'm an Army veteran from 96 to 2005. I was a radio operator, and then I went to IT, 31 Charlie, then 25 Bravo. I've been a DoD contractor since 2005 when I got out for about 4 years. I then turned around and started two businesses. One was My PC Solutions. I was doing cyber. We didn't call it cybersecurity back then, but it was really security, doing these things on systems for multiple companies, local companies, small businesses such as real estate, process serving companies, stuff like that, and computer repair and SharePoint development. And I also started a business called Ground Forces Testing. Basically, I was providing Pearson VUE testing, Prometric testing, PAN testing. I mean, I had 21 different contracts where I would proctor people take an exam, even college exams. I consider myself an expert in cybersecurity, particularly in risk management framework, which is the DoD standard for RMF, and particularly security configurations and vulnerability management. And so I just want to share these videos because I think, you know, this day and age, there's a lot of bad things happen out there, and why not implement these settings that are easy to do? All they take is time, right? The majority of them are in, you know, they do not affect your systems in any way. They may introduce some inconvenience, but I think, you know, the inconvenience is not so bad. It's just you know, like your browser settings, you may not be able to go to certain websites, but sometimes that's a good thing. Especially if they don't have like HTTPS enabled. Well, you don't want to go to those sites anyways because they're not secure, and more than likely they're going to ask for your information, and that's not good. So, but anyway, that's about me. I say this for last because I know people don't like to watch these in the beginning. It seems like people are touting themselves, but hey, that's me. All right, catch you guys in the next video. Thanks. Oh, please like, subscribe, and click that ding bell. I guess that's what they say. That helps me make these videos. Appreciate it. Have a good one.